Hi, this is a continuation. I think this is part 7 now of the Muslim who hates questions. And when I do my words, I'll be using this side of my face, and when you do his, I'll be using this side. Okay. Alright. Sounds like Al wants to do everything alone, unless it's to spread Islam and kill those who don't submit. Then Allah needs help, it sounds. Okay, oh, I say this. Okay, I say this. Oh, I know that partnering in worship is a no-no. It's just that it sounds like even regular partnering is bad as well. With Allah shall have no partners. You know? What part of Quran do you get this, quote, Allah shall have no partners, claim from? Where do you get that from? Let's read the exact verse you are referring to, so that we make sure you are not misquoting the verse. Sounds like Allah wants to do everything alone, unless it's to spread Islam and kill those who don't submit. Then Allah needs help, it sounds. I mean, it's apparent you feel there is different kinds of partnering, you know? It sounds like you feel there is. Of course! And my question is, why isn't apparent to you as well as it is to me, even after I gave you many verses to prove you that there are different kinds of partnering? And for argument's sake, if I am to agree with you that there is only one kind of partnering, then you must decide which one from the two, worship or obedience. And I can't be obedient, and it can't be obedience because there are many verses to show Allah likes it. Oh, I know Allah likes obedience. And worshiping Allah seems to be obedience. Only since I can't really see why anyone truly would want to bow to the Kaaba out of love and worship, but for fear of Allah only. I mean, really, who in their right mind wants to stop 5 times a day, every day, for the rest of their life, to bow to something that calls itself the best of deceivers, and only made it appear that Jesus went to the cross, condemning Christianity, creating damnation for anyone who believes in the Injil? It has to be obedience. You know? It has to be obedience only. Or a really bad case of Stockholm Syndrome, seems to me. It has to be, yeah. Ha 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 ha. I think it's getting hard for you now. I've harder for you by now to keep track of topic at hand. The reasoning you gave to conclude that it is obedience is flawed. I never asked you about obedience to Allah. Our dispute was never about obedience to Allah. So all those bantering about Stockholm Syndrome and deceiver excuses do not make any sense here. What does obey Allah and obey His Messenger mean to you? I never asked you about obedience to Allah. Our dispute was never about obedience to Allah. True. It was about partnering, mostly. So all those bantering about Stockholm Syndrome, deceiver, excuse, do not make any sense here. Perhaps. So far. Oops. So far, what I noticed from you is, you only make personal assumption without a valid scriptural base or evidence. Just going by, Allah hates that you partner with him, that's all. You could never back up lies. Hey, I didn't write Allah hates that you partner with him in the quote clear signs. You know, I didn't write the Quran. Whenever I probed you for proof, you always resorted to saying, quote, well, it seems to me, or, well, I think it is, I think it to be. Quote, I believe it is, it to be, such and such. Yeah, pretty much. How does it mean I'm lying or being dishonest? It's just an observation. It's like me saying Jesus is the greatest rapist of all because it seems to me that he is. If Jesus said something like, the Comforter will one day give allowance to rape women in front of their non-Muslim husbands' eyes, and I envy him, I think you might be right on thinking he could have been a rapist. And when you ask for proof, I will just stick to saying, quote, I think and I believe without giving evidence. Okay. All right. If Jesus said, quote, again, the Comforter will one day give allowance to rape women in front of their non-Muslim husbands, putting up some impossible criteria so that Jesus can't be made a rapist. Nice idea. But, so sad. I don't think that is the only criteria to determine a rapist, even though you wish that to be, because you hate to recognize your God to be a rapist. He is a rapist, not because he fits your criteria, but because he actually raped by taking advantage of his authority. What do you think the word if means? Yeah, what do you think the word if means? If here means you are introducing a condition or criteria to judge something. So, how is Jesus like a rapist in my scene that Allah doesn't like partnering? You know? How? You know? Well, as you couldn't give me any reason for scriptural evidence for your thinking that obedience is shirk. No, I don't think obedience is shirk. But when you are to obey Allah and Mo in your obedience to both Mo and Allah, Muhammad and Allah, seems you make them partners in your obedience to each other. Thus you partner. Allah forbid. I thought it will be useless to probe your. I thought it will useless to probe you anymore. What? And better leave that there by assuming you did that out of ingrained hatred. Not of Muslims. Ingrained hatred and excessive love of irrationality. Just trying to make sense of the clear signs handed down that explains things fully in detail, that's all. Jesus is a rapist because he is one. If you think so, maybe I can see why you think I'm wrong on the partnering question. When in the inbox you told me accept Jesus, when you told me accept Jesus as my savior, I was like, what? Take a rapist as savior? Oh, so you do believe Jesus was a rapist? You really think so? Well, no wonder you have a hard time understanding where I'm coming from. Where I'm coming with the fact that Mo seems to be partnered with Al in your obedience to both of them. I mean, why not? When we clearly see in his genealogy that he is a product of incest. Could you run that by me again? When we clearly see in his genealogy that he is a product of incest. Which ancestor slept with Mo? Excuse me. Which ancestor slept with who to produce Jesus? Well, since I'm sure Adam and Eve's children had incest to get the human race going, I guess in a way we are all of incest, right? And then so you think he's a rapist because of incest? You really think so? Well, no wonder you have a hard time. Ha 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 ha! It would have been hard for me if I didn't know that Dragon Driver 100 is actually a believer of 1 + 1 + 1 = 1. Well, when all calls itself we, when shirk is the worst of sins, it seems you could know where I was coming from. In my previous efforts, I was trying to show you why rationality, logic, and evidence do not make any sense to Christians. Well, what's logical about the sun? What's logical about the sun when setting, asking permission to rise again, which Muhammad says in the Hadith? You know, what's logical about us being classic congealed blood? In the previous efforts, yeah. I was trying to show you why rationality and logic and evidence do not make any sense to Christians. Again, what is logical about embryos being clots of congealed blood, or the sun and moon traveling in boats similar to their offspring Noah, in arks apparently, like the Noah's Ark? What's logical about the earth being spread out like a carpet with mountains placed down as pegs to keep down the earthquakes caused by a giant fish called Nun when it's agitated? I guess it's wiggling its tail. By the way, which ancestor slept with who to produce Jesus? You know? I wonder how it's news to you. It's news to me. I can see you took me out of context, I see. It seems like you have been too busy complaining about the snow on your neighbor's roof when your own doorstep is shitty. Again, you took me out of context. We all had ancestors that got us here through incest, if the Quran and Bible are right about Adam and Eve being the first humans. How in the world will you get the time to read about the incestuous ancestors of Jesus when you keep yourself busy in others' matters? Why should I care if Jesus had incestuous ancestors? Seems like he and all of us had incestuous ancestors. Or did the children of Adam and Eve have sex with or who did the children of Adam and Eve have sex with to not have incest with? Why are those other people, according to the clear signs that explain things fully in detail? Yeah, where are these? Where are those other people? Where? You know? Where are they to make it so it's not incest? No, don't go too far off to Adam. You don't have to. Oh! So you do agree that incest would have been key with Adam's generation, and that it's okay then, but not later. As if it's not okay now, true? Well, which ancestor of Jesus was having incest when incest was not okay, like it was in the time of Adam and Eve then? Problem with you is, you like to answer each sentence before reading the whole paragraph, like I'm doing now. Really? Such a habit is common among those who like to quote things out of context. Better leave that up to you instead, true? Anyway, that's a side issue here. But my friend, if you read the whole message, you would have seen that I already told you not to go that far off to Adam. But did you say Jesus was a product of incest? Did you say Jesus was a product of incest? If you read the whole message, you would have seen that I already told you not to go that far off from Adam. Again, didn't you say Jesus was a product of incest? And if there was an Adam and Eve as the first humans, wouldn't that mean we all are? Or did our ancestors have sex? Or who did our ancestors have sex with to produce us and Jesus? But incest was okay then and not when, say, a more direct descendant of Jesus supposedly had incest, true? How is there a difference, except by maybe genes being different, you know? Jesus is a product of incest long after God forbid it after Adam. And if you are right, if we are, gasp, no, okay, and if you are right, we are to gasp, no, Because I'm about to read that one more time.